Quick disclaimer, my bad for the audio. It's bad, but I'm gonna fix it for the next video, y'all. My bad.
What's good, y'all? Welcome back to Reek Knows Hoops. I'm your host, Tyreek. And I'm going to just give y'all some, updates. It's the All-Star break around the NBA. And, a couple things have happened since the end of the first half of the season. First, I want to congratulate Mike Conley for getting his first All-Star bid. He's going to be Devin Booker's replacement. I guess D-Book has like a knee sprain. So he wants to, nurse that going into the second half of the season. And Mike Conley will also replace him in the three-point shootout. So congrats to Mike Conley because he's been a player that's been on like the bubble of being an All-Star more than once, like maybe 3 or 4 times in the tough Western Conference. And he finally gets that nod. I mean, he's been in All-Star conversations all year. I know he's like the #1 player in plus minus this season, which is pretty impressive. And he's really elevated his play this season. I know last time I checked, he was averaging like close to 17 a game, shooting the ball really efficiently, especially from downtown too. So it's good to see Mike Conley getting that first All-Star nod. There was a lot of discussion. I know DeMar DeRozan was, upset that he didn't get selected, which I personally said DeMar DeRozan should be next in line if somebody else got injured. But I am happy for Mike Conley. I do think DeMar probably should have got that spot, but maybe this is just, the NBA's rewarding the Jazz for having the best record in the league. They've been great in the first half of the season. They took a couple L's to end the first half, but, still a pretty good start, so congrats to them. Also, news broke the other day that Blake Griffin's contract got bought out by the Pistons, so I guess some contending teams are lining up to, take a flyer on Blake Griffin. He hasn't looked amazing, really, the last, 2 seasons, ever since he had that All-NBA season. I think it was like 2018, 2019 or something like that in Detroit. He had the All-NBA campaign, and then I think he hurt his knee going into the playoffs. And he tried to play on it. I think that's really been bothering him since that injury happened. And I know everybody knows the stat, like he hasn't dunked in a game since 2019, and we know that's not Blake Griffin. He's had a couple like games this season where he's played really well, but I mean, other than that, not really much from him in Detroit this year. So Pistons went ahead and, got out of his contract. I mean, that's a big contract to buy out, but, gives them a lot more flexibility heading into the future. They've been looking, pretty solid with some of their young pieces. I know Sadiq Bey's had some big games. Saban Lee's had some really nice outings. Even Dennis Smith Jr. has played pretty decently. He's been starting lately for the team. It's good to see Dennis Smith playing well. He had a triple-double. I think it might have been their last game before the break, but he had a triple-double along with Mason Plumlee having a triple-double. And then Jeremy Grant's been really good this season too. So, good for them to get out of Blake Griffin's contract. And now we see, who's the team that's going to take this chance on Blake Griffin. Of course, the top contenders. Right now, it's been reported, I think Woj reported it, that the Nets are the top destination right now for Blake Griffin. Me personally, I don't see that fit. It would bring a little more front court depth, but at the same time, it's like, I don't think he's gonna help that team with what they're lacking, which is on the defensive side. I don't think he's really gonna help that. He can space the floor, which would be good, obviously, but no, I don't think he'll be on the court when it really matters because Jeff Green is, their best defender that they have in their small ball lineup. So, I don't really see that fit. I mean, like I said, it would be good for depth, but I don't really see that fit. Also, the 2 LA teams, the Lakers and the Clippers. Me personally, I think like these are probably like the second most likely destinations, like based off the fit, because the Clippers could use some solid front court depth. And the Lakers, they could use somebody that you can put the ball in for maybe a little short stretches of time, and have them create, because Blake Griffin is a really good creator. He's shown that even this season. He's had like some 6-7 assist games, and he's always been a good playmaker from the 4 spot. So those 2 teams could really use somebody like Blake Griffin. It'd be funny to see him back in a Clippers uniform. That would be kind of funny, especially after all the stuff that went down at the end of his tenure. And I think the other team was the Miami Heat, and I said this is probably the best fit in my opinion. I think it's the best fit because Miami, they run a lot of like Kelly Olynyk on the floor, and even as bad as Blake has been, I don't want to say bad, just inconsistent as he's been. I think his upside is a lot more than Kelly Olynyk. And, Myers Leonard being out for the season, that's another big that they rely on. And it'll just be somebody that you can probably run the offense through, because they run the offense a lot through Bam Adebayo. You can run the offense through Blake Griffin, for short periods of time as well. So, I think those are the top 4 teams that are, eyeing Blake Griffin. I've seen the Celtics. I don't see the fit there at all. Doesn't really help with what they're lacking. I think those are all the teams, though. So keep an eye on Blake Griffin news. Also, some other buyout situations that could possibly be coming on the horizon. There's, also trade season coming up too. So I'm probably going to make a whole video about, possible trade targets for each team, or people that's going to be on the market, like Andre Drummond, guys like that, maybe Kevin Love even. So, we'll see about that in the future. But yeah, next, Kevin Porter Jr. got called up from the Houston Rockets G League team. He's been tearing the G League up. I seen he went against Jalen Green the other night, and, those two kind of went at it a little bit on the court. I think KPJ had like 28 points to end the game. Also, if you can tune into some G League games, maybe not even watch the full games, just maybe, watch the full game highlights. A lot of talent in the G League, man. A lot of talent. Jalen Green's been looking really good, from that Ignite team. Yeah, Kevin Porter Jr., notable name to get pulled up from the G League. So let's see if, he can make an impact on the Houston Rockets. Just play good basketball. Because one, they're struggling. Like, they don't have nowhere to go but up. And two, it's my bad too. I'd like to see him back on the court, especially after what happened at the end of his Cleveland days, because it kind of got messy at the end. But he was playing good his rookie season. He was a late first-round pick, I think the final pick of the first round. And he was somebody who, going into, his first college season, his one and only college season, who had lottery talent. Like, he was being projected in the lottery a lot of times, and I even think heading into the draft, some big boards had him going in the lottery. I think they had the Celtics taking him in one big board I was looking at, at the very end of the lottery. But he had those, I want to say the red flags that GMs and stuff be looking for in the interviewing process. So that's why he fell all the way down to 30. And then at the end of his Cleveland days, kind of had a blow up, I guess, in the locker room. So they decided to trade him for pretty much like a second-round pick that was worth nothing. So just to get him off the books. And I know he had made a tweet in the offseason, pretty much alluding to his mental health. So you always want guys to protect their mental health. Hopefully he's getting the help that he needs in that department. But I'm glad to see him back on the NBA roster. We've seen guys go down to the G League like Josh Jackson, kind of revive their careers. So hopefully this is another opportunity, a young player revive their careers. And, there's gonna be minutes in Houston, depending on if Victor Oladipo does get traded or not. We'll definitely see what's in the Rockets' future. And yeah, that's pretty much all the updates. I'm sure everybody saw Team Giannis and Team LeBron and Team KD by now. We all know KD's not playing in the All-Star game. Domantas Sabonis is replacing him. Jason Tatum's gonna take the start. But yeah, it should be a fun All-Star weekend, man. Dunk contest, people are kind of judging it a little bit, but I think those guys have a chance to really put on a show. Obi Toppin, I think he can show some stuff off, especially him being 6'8", 6'9". It will look a little different. I think Cassius Stanley is from the Pacers. He's in there. He's a high flyer for sure. And then Anthony Simons. So yeah, I think they can show some stuff. 3-point shootout should look good. D-Book's not in it like I mentioned, but Steph. I think Zach LaVine's in it. There's some guys in there, some heavy hitters. In the All-Star game, same format as last year. Hopefully it should be pretty good. But yeah, that's gonna be the end of the video though, y'all. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you're new. I'm gonna be back next time. Peace.
Mention, check out my guy's merch, man. Hunter Stewart. It's called Love. The clothing brand. Make sure y'all check it out. Link's gonna be in the description for his Instagram page. And get with him, man. Some real high quality stuff, very clean. He got sweatsuits, t-shirts, hats, all that, man. So go ahead, check my guy out. And yeah, I'm gonna see y'all next time.